evening, everyone. I'm Anastasia. I'm the Executive Director of the ESA Foundation, and I want to personally welcome you to our Invest in Them Roundtable series, a collection of timely conversations running from International Day of the Woman to October's International Day of the Girl. Our aim with these roundtables is to convene a wide range of individuals from diverse backgrounds to discuss ways in which we all can create opportunities for girls, young women, and non-binary students to raise their voices and follow their passion for careers in the video game industry. I think it's important to share that at the ESA Foundation, we recognize that gender is a reflection of identity, biology, and expression. Today, I'm excited to hear from a group of powerhouse individuals who are kind enough to lend their time today to serve as role models by sharing their journey into games and the ways in which they use their platform to promote worthy causes and uplift others. Thank you to our friends at Google for Games as well for their commitment in the partnership to help us bring this series together and supporting our scholarship fund. Without them, our work to build and increase the diversity in the STEM pipeline for our industry through our scholarship program and collective partnerships with organizations like Black Girls Code simply would not be possible. So enough for me. I am the least interesting part of this whole entire session today. Let me turn it over to our two fabulous moderators, Jade Valkyrie, who is an award-winning cosplayer, host, streamer, and tabletop RPG performer. Jade also, and I believe this is when I got the chance to meet her, she was a featured streamer for MAC Cosmetics at their first TwitchCon in 2019, and since has worked with amazing companies like Marvel, Ubisoft, and CD Projekt Red. Valkyrie also is a fellow at one of our partner organization, 1,000 Dreams, which is, we love them. Alex Hutchie is the host of 5 Minute Game Podcast, where she interviews gaming industry leaders and content creators like the amazing folks today. The 5-minute segments are about origin stories into careers and life advice. So I suggest you follow her and start tuning in. All right, Alex, Jade, over to you. And thank you everyone for joining us again.
Hey everyone, I'm Jade Valkyrie. My pronouns are she and they. I'm one of your co-hosts for this panel titled Wielding Game and Life-Changing Influence. Alex, would you care to explain?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Alex Hutchie. My pronouns are they, them. I'm really excited today to talk to the panel. I think streaming is probably one of the most fascinating things that is all the rage right now. So it's going to be great to hear the origin stories of how everyone got started streaming. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about talk a little bit more about everyone's story. So to kick it off, we'll go ahead and introduce everyone on the panel. We want to start with Kenyatta, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Kenyatta Adams. I am Wolfkeeper999 online. And I do stream on Twitch. I'm a variety streamer. I mainly do arts and crafts and mainly open world games and RPGs, but I've been known to play puzzles and things every now and then. And my background actually is, I actually had a really weird way into games and streaming. I've always loved games, but my background is actually in STEM. And I have a background in biology, and I'm looking to use games and my platform to promote public education and science education, mixing the popular with the scientific.
Excellent. And we also have Sonia. If you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself, you're the screen right forward mine. Go for it.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sonia, or OMG, it's Firefox Online. Similarly, I also had a beginning in STEM. I've always loved games. I grew up on games. I started playing on DOS, and I got an N64, and I started doing a lot more PC gaming, and I fell in love with it, and I really wanted to contribute to the space. So originally I went to college to develop video games. I learned coding, and I learned how to make games, how to build games. And then through my journey in trying to find out what my place is in the industry and connect with people and try and broaden my horizons and going to conventions and meeting people, I ended up starting to stream. I was still in college and I was still trying to work as well. And it was kind of my little safe haven at the end of the day. And it kind of just grew from there. I started to grow an audience, and now we're here.
Awesome. And we also have Aziza, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Aziza Brown. I am the owner and founder of Dynamic Focus, which is an esports team for grassroots, mostly for fighting games, and we have a content creators section. So I also am the investor into a league called the Queen of the Hill series, which is for women who want to compete in esports online. And we featured these women who are really good powerhouses and also new women who want to actually compete. Currently, we're doing Soul Calibur 6. And so, about me and my story, I come from New York, and I was, I bodega hopped from arcade to arcade. And I learned how to do laundry at the age of 8, so I can actually store quarters so I can play the arcade machine near my house. I'm pretty much older, and I do stream Naughty Nimbus Z, and I kind of hold on to the channel so I can make sure I can build up dynamic focus for just to grow the team and everybody on it.
Excellent. Sounds great.
Mhm.
And we're also going to have A. Christine, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, yes. My name is Christine, and I go by A Christine online. I've had my channel since 2015, and I started with playing like FPS and things like that. But I too had gaming like ingrained into me since Super Nintendo specifically. And playing from Nintendo console to Nintendo console, then PlayStation when it came out, Xbox when it came out. So I've played almost everything. I did not get the Dreamcast, GameCube era. I wasn't able to get into that. But outside of that, I've been playing a lot of things on my channel right now. I play. I'm a variety streamer, so I'm playing a lot of Among Us, Fall Guys. Dipping back into scary games coming up soon. I've been kind of staying away a little bit because they frighten me, they terrify me. But I stream 5 times a week typically on my gaming channel. I also have a React channel. I have a podcast with my other Black gamer friends. We talk about pop culture, we talk about gaming news, and we talk about TV shows and things like that. Right now, we're following the Falcon and Winter Soldier series on Disney Plus. So kind of doing a lot of things, a lot of things, but having fun.
Hey, having fun is what it's all about when we think about it. So you all described your paths and your like origin stories, how you came to be a streamer and building these amazing communities. How do you use your platform to express, the power of games and its social impact? And we'll start with Sonia on this one.
Yeah, I really like to focus on, just as you're saying, community. The power of games brings so many people together, and I think it's so beautiful. It's nice to be able to have this like common ground where people can come in and feel at home. And I've done the best I've started my channel in 2013. I did my best over the last however many years to make it feel really like a family essentially online. And it's nice to know that they're so supportive of each other, and they're so supportive of each other's journeys. And at the end of my streams, I try and end up most streams with, if you want to be an open inbox for somebody, and if you want to allow people to reach out to you through messages, like put a heart in the chat. And if anyone's feeling alone, if anyone's feeling like I'm struggling with some stuff right now and I really want to reach out, they know that they have all of the support, and they know that they have like this beautiful community to connect with and to play games with, and to just have the support. So trying to foster a community that supporting each other and is supportive of each other and builds each other up has been really important to me.
For sure. And that's beautiful, and ending that. I'm sure your community really appreciates that. Aziza.
Hey. So I'm kind of like more hands off with building the community, but I'm still kind of hands on because of the fact that I hire people that I know are good, hardworking, healthy, and just fun-loving people who want to connect to a community and grow that community because, and reach out to more people. um like every single day I'm laughing with my team members. I gather them together to make sure that they're built up so they can actually face the day to actually build their communities up more. um uh how I started is basically, it was just esports. It's basically meeting people at their local scene and seeing how much drive and how much like effort they wanted to actually travel. And I've been helping these guys and women travel back and forth to different majors, and then building their media platforms and their brands so that they can be stronger. um I could go on, and I kind of don't because it's like such a cycle, because every single individual person is my story, you know? I have 17 people on my team right now, and all of them are amazing, you know? So,
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
think I appreciate that. And yeah, I think you can definitely go on, because hiring like this amazing group of people that you're saying that are super diverse and for what they're actually for their skill is really just driving a different change of conversation about how esports are run. So I really admire that.
Yeah.
And Kenyatta. Kenyatta, you're muted.
Okay, sorry. I just seriously started streaming back in October of 2020. Then I got sick, and so that was put on hold. And so I've been back this year, really trying to build up my community. But I made my main community building actually comes through, funny enough, Discord right now. I am part of the Black Girl Gamers group, and I am one of the moderators for their Discord group. And so that's mainly where I do my community building as of this moment. Helping that group and maintaining that and making sure the Discord runs smoothly. But when I am streaming, I do my best to help bring awareness to. So I personally have a physical disability. I was born with cerebral palsy. So I always point out games that have accommodations for things like one of my favorite puzzle games that I played recently, they had options for people that were colorblind. There were games like Going Under, for example, that had different like settings for different ways to play the game that I really found useful for those who might not be, quick on controllers or keyboards, boards or things like that, and I always highlight those when I come across those in games like that. So on the social end, I do my best to highlight, accessibility for the games that I play, and those that go the extra mile for those things, I do that as well. And I mainly do a lot of social media work with spreading game news and things like that. And as I said before, I'm working to start working science into games and discussing anime and things like that in order to bring more awareness to those areas. And I've consulted on games and books and such for with my background as well.
And then now I'm the one that muted. But lastly, Christine, tell us about how you use your platform for share your voice, interests, drive social change. How do you do that with your community?
So there are, I guess, a lot of different ways. One of the things in regards to the community, as far as my audience, we have a Discord where we communicate on a regular basis. We have our like the streaming often and connecting with them, I think, is like the best way. you're constantly getting actual feedback from them. You're interacting with them. You're hearing what they think about what you're doing. You get to conversate with them in real time. Outside of that, I would say, especially last year, it was very, very important to me to connect with other Black gamers. Before, when I started back in 2015, it was me and like a couple other people, and there weren't a lot of other ones we could reference. If we're like, hey, I like this YouTuber, there weren't a lot of Black YouTubers back then, gaming in the gaming front specifically. And as that community has grown and grown and grown over the past few years, especially last year, it was definitely imperative to connect more with Black gamers, because a lot of people don't know we exist, especially in the female aspect. They don't know that we're here. And I would say that, Twitch and YouTube have been doing a little bit better on putting some on the forefront, but also as a streamer, it was important to me to reach out to other Black gamers and connect and collab and network and have our audiences intermingle and see more faces, and really push that narrative going forward, that there are more of us out there. And a lot of our audience members are Black gamers that, want to see more people that represent them and represent seeing their face, playing games and things like that, and feeling comfortable in that skin and in that aspect. So that's definitely been something. And then obviously social media, taking the time to voice when I feel like, okay, there's something that needs to be said, I need to say it. I can do it on, Instagram or Twitter right there, very quickly, or, post a video on my channel.
Thank you for that, Christine. That was super powerful. And I do agree with you. I'm also a part of the Black Girl Gamers myself. So having that like community of people and just trying to reach out to different, categories that we are familiar with and people that are not represented. I think that's super important. And shout out to Wolfkeeper, because you were one of the first people that were chatting in my stream. And so I really remember that. And so that was something that really still sticks with me today as a content creator myself. But next question, and we'll toss it over to Alex.
Yeah, community and representation is very important. And every year, women and non-binary people have become more and more visible in the gaming community. I guess, can we all talk about times in which we felt the most supported? And how important is it for non-male content creators to support one another? So just providing some examples of times that you felt the most supported in your career, just so we can talk more about community. Sonia, if you'd like to go ahead and start us off with a story, go ahead.
Sure. When I'm thinking of, were you saying male creators supporting us? Sorry. Or female support, or?
Yeah, female support, male support, allies. I think all representation is important to talk about, the stories on how people feel that they can contribute. I think that's something that just sharing that would be great to hear.
Yeah, I feel two things that kind of pop into my mind are just the more that I've connected with more women in the space, the more I've found so much mutual support back and forth. Connecting with women at gaming conventions, connecting with more women who are streamers, people who put it at the forefront to like go out of their way to support. If I see somebody who's online that I know has been like on that grind, I'll try, and I'm ending, I try to go out of my way to raid people and try to send some more support that way. And even, particularly thinking of last year when Among Us was kind of huge, and it was really, really blowing up. One creator in particular, Julian, he really went out of his way to include way more women in streams that he was doing that were garnering a lot of attention, that they were getting a lot of views. And he really did go out of his way to make sure that he had, a diverse audience and have including more women. And he was very, very respectful, in the Discord, making sure that everyone had time to speak and no one was getting talked over, and just being able to create that space, however you identify and however you're supporting, but just being able to create that space for people to feel supported and to have that support and going the extra mile to do so is so important.
That's excellent to hear. It's very important to support women outside of the month of March. So I'm excited to see more people take initiative to include women in streams and create space for them to speak as well. Excellent story. Aziza, if you'd like to go ahead and talk about a time in which you felt the most supported in the industry, please share.
Um, Basically, I felt um, when I supported somebody else with their dream. So my player who does the Queen of the Hill series, like she produces it and everything like that. Basically, what happened was that I totally backed her on her dream, and she totally showed that she had the production chops and everything to just grow a actual brand by herself. And I helped her out with making apparel and making little and we're going to be doing a little bit more other things. She went out and found out an engraver to make engraved wine glasses for the series to keep um boosting the morale of the series, and to and we found another person, Pie Bear. She taught us how to do the media kits and taught us how to do the things to grow a huge, like a better brand. And when we first and just uh our player Sane, who felt neglected when he did his edits for Soul Calibur and all these gaming music videos, we gave him that support, and he fired this huge release trailer that looks so dope. And to see like Soul Calibur and Bomb Bomb being mixed together was like revolutionary to us. And it's just that being the person that pushes that along and not to be in the background and push them along to grow them. I've seen the women being supported, the women growing, and more allyship, more media people, more media attention being on them, and growing this scene that is literally insane. And we're just in the first week, you know? So yeah, that's pretty much like great, because it's just me being the supporter has always been a great thing in my life right now.
That's excellent. And that's a really great example of professional development as either a solopreneur or working on a small team. So love to hear stories like that. Kenyatta, if you would like to go ahead and talk about a time in which you felt supported in the industry.
I would say it was during I want to say it was 2020, during the 2020 Black Girl Gamers Weekender event in September. I think that was an amazing show of support, because for a lot of the women that participated in that event, so during that weekend in September, Black Girl Gamers had stuff going on their channel 24/7 for like that entire weekend almost. And people came in playing games, playing old games, new games, games people had never heard of. Ladies that were developing games of their own were able to show off some of the stuff that they had come up with and what they were working on. There were people that were doing art and crafts. I know me myself, I was doing some yarn dyeing in the early morning on Sunday during the art showcase, and to just see that many people in there going, "Ooh, I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know people did this on here." Like, seeing that there was an actual space, for me and all of my, ideas and the things that I wanted to do and other women wanted to do and see, like there was a space on Twitch for that, not just playing games, but just putting yourself, out there and building an audience that way was really huge. And it was really nice to see women who were streaming for the first time and them just being like, I never thought anybody would come to watch me, cook or do this or do that. And, so that was a big step for a lot of people, including myself. So I think that was a really supportive thing for me.
Browsing Twitch categories, the more obscure, the better. I love watching like the arts and crafts or even just chatting. So that's amazing. I'm really glad that people feel supported, that you can pretty much stream anything. I think it takes a lot of consistency. And the more excited that you are doing your content, I think that's what everybody enjoys the most, just seeing someone have fun and supporting that any way that they can. Thanks for sharing that. Christine, if you'd like to go ahead and talk about a time in which you felt supported in the community.
I would say that in regards to a large scale, would be outside of Among Us. When Among Us came out, it kind of forced a lot of creators to kind of jump out of their comfort zone and play with more people, because to get a really good game going, you want to get 10 people in there. So um, when a lot of the communities were mixed together, and like everybody's posting their videos, everybody's tweeting about it on Twitter, and everybody's audiences are kind of intermingling. And I noticed that there was a greater support happening on social media, and in the comment section, there was a greater amount of support happening on Instagram. And I felt more more connected. There were so many more audiences that more people that I was getting to be around, I guess you can say. Some of them are watching here, so shout out to you guys right now. And it's when I started to branch off into more things, I definitely recognize that support. And then also with my friends, one of the things that has been very awesome for me is like my core group of friends, are male, are female, are a mixture of different, genders and associations and things like that. And everybody is very positive. Everybody's been very supportive. Everybody's been like, you know what, it's not like, oh, it's just me, just my channel, and that's it. They're happy to see their peers succeed and do more things. So when something happened, like I had an article, and to see my friends and a lot of my other content creators that are out there that I've collaborated with or played with, to see them do that support, I was like, wow, that I felt very supported. I felt very like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not just this one channel in this sea of a million channels that are out there. I felt more connected. So 2020, even though it was a horrible year, there were some good supportive moments that happened when we all kind of came together, since we're all at home.
For sure. And we've been talking about the support in the large scale with the community. But now let's talk about support in the small scale. Did any of you have any mentors in the past, or the not president? If so, how did they influence you? In what ways? And we'll start with Aziza on this one. Yeah, surprise. Got you.
So in the small scale, it's basically has been our private team Discord. All my team members are basically my mentors. They've um I mean, every single, like, I have a regular job. I We just turn on the Discord while we're working, just so we can actually hear each other and connect to each other and uplift each other while um the panini is happening. So basically, that's been those are my mentors. That's my support system, and it's been amazing to have them around, even though they troll me a lot, like a lot. Like I'm currently trolling them on Twitter right now.
That's how you get. No, it's a good friendship and mentorship. Give and take.
Give and take. Yes.
And Christine, what about you?
For me, I would say it would be my husband and my friends, in regards to mentors, like other content creators. We all kind of go through similar trials and tribulations with running a channel or running a streaming channel, or wherever you're mostly posting content. And to be able to encourage each other and build each other up has been extremely helpful and extremely needed, especially when you want to do more, because a lot of us want to do more than just play a video game. We want to branch out in different facets of creativity. So to have other people that know you and support you and want to continue to help you grow. And they provide inspirational, motivational moments or just laughter, because my friends troll the heck out of me as well. And it builds character. It builds character. But yeah, I would say my husband and my friends for sure.
For sure. And Kenyatta.
For me, mine has been J Lopez, the founder of BBG. She's been super helpful in, making sure that she's putting forward things for people to learn from. She ran the workshop for media kits and stuff like that, and I'm still working on mine and getting mine together. She's constantly dropping, wisdom and links and things for people to look into. And she's really supportive with people's ideas and looking for ways of helping them make that happen. More tangentially, there's a lot of people that I follow on social media who are, great content creators whom, I take little nuggets from, and the way they do things, like Cuddle Core, the way she works, X Mira. Like a lot of my mentorship and learning has been through, observation. And the other person would be my friend Kildros, who's also a streamer, but he's really tech inclined, and he's always like, anytime I bring up an idea or something, he's like, "Okay, bet, how you gonna get it done? When are you gonna do it?" And he kind of keeps me honest, like, "You said you were gonna do this." Yeah, I did say I was gonna do that. Let me go do that. And my sister's the same way. Like, "Didn't you say you were gonna?" Yes, I'm gonna go do the thing. And not letting me be squeamish or back out. Stay consistent, stay the course.
Yeah, and that's super important, that accountability, for sure. And last but not least, Firefox.
I was just trying to think. I don't think I've had a very direct career, but notably, I guess throughout the last however many years, just knowing that, again, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but just connecting more with women in the space, especially women who are doing all sorts of different things. It's been nice to be able to have some kind of like a sounding board to throw ideas at, and to be able to connect with. And if I can go out of my way for them, absolutely. And if I have any ideas, I can definitely throw them at them. My friend Leslie at A&D, I've been kind of working on something on the side, and she's gone above and beyond and has definitely helped me out in so many ways. Erica Ishii, I love Erica Ishii, and being able to connect with her if I ever have any questions. Naomi Kyle is an incredible host. She's fantastic, and if I ever have any questions about hosting or anything, knowing that I can talk to her. Maud Garrett, Trisha Hirschberger. There's so many fantastic ladies in my life over my career that I've been unbelievably thankful to be able to connect with. Pam Horton. I could go on. Mari Takahashi. I could keep going, but just knowing that if I have issues, people who are in this community who understand, being a woman in the space, and understand the processes and how this industry works, being able to have a network of awesome women that I can hit up for questions and I can support as well. That's been my biggest mentorship.
Excellent. Feel free to tweet everyone that you mentioned. They all sound really amazing and do incredible things. So thanks for talking about people who have helped you out along the way, which leads into the next question of, when you face challenges during your streaming, how have you overcome them? Like, what keeps you encouraged? And I guess really speak from that, less than 10 viewer you, when you remember that on when you got started. Would love to hear some advice on overcoming challenges. Christine, if you would like to go ahead and start.
Oh, I see you surprising us with who starts first.
We gotta keep it interesting. We gotta keep them guessing.
So for challenges, something I will say I started early would be addressing a lot of those challenges directly. So if it comes to a you know, somebody spamming the chat or someone harassing or things like that, um, early on I did set the tone with my audience in regards to setting rules in the description box. So that's been something that I've been pushing, like, hey, read the rules in the description box, we want to have a chill stream type of thing. um, and if it comes to it where, let's say, my mods have reached out and they've said anything to the person, I have, on, I would say maybe 10 times in my career, stopped playing a game, pause the game, and address this person, but not saying, giving them the, you know, a lot of times people who do things in the chat, they want you to say their name. I don't say their name, but I call out what they're doing. And I'm not aggressive, I'm not mean, I'm not rude to them. But one thing that I guess a saying that's kind of started on the channel is, if you can type, you can read. So if you can type in the chat and put what you're putting, then you can read the rules in the description box to see whether it's something that we, you know, we do here on this channel. So it's definitely something I've been doing since I started my channel, because I wanted to set the tone. I've been in chats where it can be very, very toxic and very uncomfortable when you just want to watch the streamer, or you just want to talk to the streamer or other people in the chat, and things kind of go awry. So I definitely, it's always been important to me to make sure that if something is being done and you give them chances, you call out what they're doing in a comfortable way. I mean, I'm not saying yell at the person, curse them out of their name, but just say, listen, you know, stop spamming the chat. Let's have fun. Let's be chilled. Let's talk about what's going on. Don't spam for shout outs, just saying, hey, shout me out, shout me out, shout me out, shout me out. Just chill, just relax. Let's have a fun time. And if they don't, then, you know, there's the timeout button or the block button that that has to be used, but kind of setting that tone. I don't have to block people often, which is an awesome thing. But sometimes we do have to time out some people, but, you know, setting that tone and addressing them directly.
Excellent. Yeah, the chat button is a well-known friend. And yeah, it's very, I guess, like, chat management or crowd management is something very interesting. Probably a skill that we all had to learn as we went along. Because yeah, I would love to hear a story from Kenyatta, a bit about how you've managed challenges during your stream and how you overcome it.
I haven't gotten a big enough audience yet to have, you know, super chat issues yet, you know, other than an occasional bot, you know, which can be taken care of with a couple of clicks. Mine a lot of times are technical, where, you know, having to keep your cool as, you know, something once again has failed, you know, midstream, whether it's your camera's died, or, you know, the game's not coming up properly, or your game crashes, or, you know, or your video camera isn't quite working the way you need it to be working. So, you know, being able to kind of stay calm, relax, talk to the chat, you know, and be like, yeah, sorry about that. Let me get this fixed. But, you know, I hope you're all having a good evening, that sort of thing. You know, feeling the silence and, you know, not letting the pressure get to you is something that I've been working on and with a lot. You know, and sometimes, especially when you get started, people kind of feel weird about talking to themselves, you know, when they're streaming, you know, because they're, you know, conscious of if anybody's there or not. And it's weird to do so at first, but the more you get used to doing it, eventually somebody's going to say, pop in and go, hey, how are you? What are you doing? That sort of thing. Because a lot of people do come for the engagement, you know, and depending on what you're doing, because, you know, recently I've started streaming me writing, you know, which sounds really weird because, you know, most of the other types of media that's streamed on Twitch is either, you know, conversations, artwork, you know, even when I'm, you know, doing my fibercraft streams, whether I'm dyeing yarn or I'm spinning or something, you know, people do crochet, you know, there's something going on the screen, you know, whereas writing is, well, writing is writing. But, you know, I've had most of my fun conversations with people who pop in, you know, to my writing streams. They're like, what are you writing? How are you doing this? Why are you looking this up? Why are you looking that up? You know, or, oh, I write this, or I'm thinking about writing and this, that, and the other. So, I mean, it just really just depends on the stream and the day. So you just kind of have to get used to pretending that there are people there to interact with, and eventually, you grow comfortable. But those are the things I've kind of been dealing with on my end as a new streamer.
That sounds very interesting. And I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions about how to write, how to get started writing. So I should say, I hope that you stick with that content long enough to either see some traction or to get a writers group going, because I think that's great for accountability to write with someone. And especially now, a lot of us are probably looking for people to hang out with online and soon in real IRL, just to do things such as writing or sit quietly. So would love to hear more. Aziza, if you'd like to talk about a time in which you were facing challenges while streaming, please tell us a little bit more about.
Okay, so when I actually was an avid streamer, I would do Jackbox streams, and those are fun. Not really. Uh, there's so much, like, when you open up the floor to chat, to interact with you. There's so many times where you had, like, just one person come through that was just like, I have an agenda to really make you angry, and basically I would just throw it back at them because I'm a jaded millennial with boomer energy. So basically, I
That's
basically
That's a great.
I love that.
I'm very jaded. So very much is like, oh, you came to actually say racist things to me. Why are you here if you don't like me? Like, excuse me, like, why did you take the energy to do that? That empowers me even more, like like doing that. And or when I'm playing a fighting game and then they say, oh, girls don't play games, and I'm like, that's like saying that books are for dads and TV's for moms. Like, what are you talking about? It's a media platform, just leave me alone. Like, but when it came to doing the bigger stuff, like doing the actual events for tournaments and everything like that, for the women's events, we had better mods that are just more controlled of the chat to make sure that when women come back to look at and analyze their gameplay during these events, because you want to know what you're doing and what you've done wrong in your tournament run or what you did right, so you can actually practice that in the lab. We want to make sure that the chat is not toxic. So the thing is that they can go back to the VODs and not feel ashamed, because that was a big thing during many events for esports, where women would come back and look at the VODs and were terrified at what people were saying about them. So making sure that is happening. Um, More of the men in our gaming field, where they do tournaments too, they're very mindful of their chat too, and their mods are very strict when it comes to attacking anybody. But they they're more loose in their language. I'm not gonna explain it on this platform right now, but it's it's great that um that's basically the challenges that I had in streaming or everything
Thanks
else.
for sharing. And
Yeah.
like the great Kodak Black once said, they don't want to see you winning. So you keep thriving through all the challenges that are out there on the internet. And I love how you face it with humor. And
You
that's
have
all
to.
that
You have to
sometimes.
throw it back at them. You have to make
Yeah.
somebody who wanted to entertain themselves by demeaning you to
Mhm.
throw it back at them, saying, I'm being entertained by you doing this to me. So what's going on? And also, this is my platform. You don't have to entertain anybody on your platform. You don't, like, they go and say, oh, I'm a sub, so I can do this. No, you don't. Click buy. That's it's your space.
Yeah.
It's your community. It's your earning potential. That's your space. You don't have to deal with it. People kick out people going through a bodega every single day. You can do the same. This is a store. Your stream is your store. Don't take any crap.
That's true. You don't want that on the shelf.
Yes.
And Sonia, if you want to go ahead and talk about a time in which you felt really challenged from your streaming career, would love to hear more about how you've overcome it and just a little bit about what's been on the road.
Yeah. I loved what Aziza said about where's this person putting their energy? If you're putting your energy in just being a mean person, like that's not, you come into my stream and you're saying this, that's not cool. And I feel like yeah, where you put your energy is so important just in general. And putting my energy into my stream and putting my energy into my community, um it is like a self-fulfilling community where they won't allow it. They want to perpetuate that the positive energy, and they want to perpetuate supportive people and people who are bringing up the stream and bringing up the vibe and bringing up the energy. So there is something really too about protecting your space. Like that is your space. That's your store. I loved that. And one thing that I always like to go back to, whether I'm having technical difficulties, whether I'm having issues with harassment, whether I'm just not feeling it and I'm having a bad day and I'm burned out and I don't want to stream and I'm just like I'm not in it for whatever reason, any pitfall or obstacle that I come up with, one thing I love to do is I like to return to my why. Why am I doing this? I want to be able to connect with people and I want to play video games and just have fun. And that's what it is. I want to keep this community. I want to stay active in this community and I want to foster this community. And that's my why. And I try to always return to that. And that gives me a lot more enthusiasm and a lot more energy and that boost to be like, okay, yeah, all right, I can keep doing this. I got this.
That self-talk is so important, and that's great. It's a great reminder to remember why am I doing this? Why am I getting started? Even if it's for the day. For me, it's having like the little Echo Dot reminders to like turn my lights on to stream. Yeah, that's a daily alarm, but it works. I'm here. So yeah, we're gonna go into a few more questions. So Jade, if you would like to go ahead and ask the next question, please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, for sure. So we've been talking about like, standing up to these trolls and standing up and being your own advocate. Do you have any other stories about being your own advocate outside of like facing trolls? So maybe like negotiating pay, working with other industry individuals, projects, etc. What's another time where you've had to literally stand up for yourself in this industry, in this sphere? And we can start with Aziza.
So one of the most interesting projects that I did because of I actually saw that there were many industries saying that we don't have enough black um what you call it programmers to work with on our projects, and I'm just looking and I just got mad at that. Like I just looked at it and I was just said, like, how dare you say that? So we put along a project which happened during Black History Month, where I just went and said, let's go and look for indie titles made by Black publishers and just highlight them. And we did that for the whole month. It's still on our Instagram right now. And I was and just by calling it out, we've found a game that's actually just coming by, and it's Five Force Fighters. And we didn't know that there was an actual Black inspired fighting game being made. And we're just sitting down here going like, dude, we can do a tournament and everything. We're just ready for this. So yeah, that's basically where my advocacy is. Like when I see that when someone says it's not possible, I'm just going to show that the possibilities were there. You just were not looking for it.
Yeah, yes, for sure. And I completely agree with you. And Kanyada.
I think for me, times that I had to stand up for myself outside of trolls, I think a lot of it has to do with just existing in the spaces, because I don't really know that many people who play games, who do fiber crafts, who play tabletop games and all these things. Because I remember growing up as a kid, like feeling like very much, like the only kind of person, in my school, in my area that did those things. And then by the time the internet came along and people were talking more, I realized there were a lot more of people like me than there were before. And so a lot of times just standing up for myself or other people are just, when people go, well, where is X? Is me putting up my hand going, I know somebody, I know somebody, I know somebody, or, not being able or not being afraid to go, hey, I do X thing, I do Y thing, being able to show people that, anybody can do anything as long as, they're willing to put in the time and the effort to do it. Just like my writing streams. People, I tell people, oh yeah, I do writing streams on my channel every Monday from 7 to 9. And they go, you write? And I'm like, yeah, you know how people watch artists draw pictures? Like, yeah. He's like, why would you do that? That would seem like that would be boring. But I'm just like, I'm sitting at the computer anyway. People have stuff to do. People have homework to work on. Like, that's literally my spiel every Monday. Like, hey guys, I'm just gonna have music playing in the background. I'm gonna be here. You can watch me flip through Google and add to my long list of things the NSA is probably listening to me for. But you know, feel free to ask questions or talk about whatever you're working on. If you feel like talking about it, let me know.
Yeah, the study with me YouTube trend is still my favorite videos. So keep contributing. I watch them when I study. Excellent. And
Christine.
So I will say this is something that I'm actually trying to learn to do better, because trolls, I think, have been easier because it's so blatant. It's right there. They say what they say and they do what they do, and then you know how to address it, or you've learned after X amount of years how to address those things, right? But outside of that space, like negotiating a higher pay in like a brand deal. I've been in a few situations where I have friends that will be offered a brand deal and then I'll get an offer and our views are comparable, right? They're around the same range. And I'll notice that my male counterparts that are even my friends, because they'll be like, oh, this brand hit me up and this is how much they offered me. And it'll be like 200 to a range from 200 to thousands of dollars of a difference of what they offered me. And so in those situations, I've been trying to negotiate more and finding a way to be comfortable doing it. Because, no one's got a book on, hey, if you have this many followers and this many subscribers and you're doing a brand deal, this is how much you should charge. There's no book that exists like that. So trying to find out what my worth is, and in the, layers of that, trying to not just find out what my worth is as a creator, but as a female creator, as a Black female creator. Since I've been seeing those differences in those offerings. Even one of my male friends, when I told them how much I was being offered, they're like, Christine, don't you think that's kind of low? And I'm like, I don't know, because they're used to getting for that same game thousands of dollars of a difference. And I was like, it was mind blowing the difference in that. But so like negotiating more has been one way that I stand up for myself in that aspect. The other way that I've been doing it is in situations that aren't so bold and blunt, because sometimes people will say, like, as Aziza mentioned before, there are no this, or as Kenyatta mentioned, there are no this, and you can come with an answer. With some situations where you see activities that people are doing, and then you see what they foster, what they've done, and then those same people come to your door to say, hey, I'd like for you to be a part of something we're doing. And then instead of me just saying, hey, well, no, I'm not going to, because I saw ABC XYZ that you did and all this other stuff, because I haven't been very comfortable with that yet, because it's not a bold, blunt thing that they're doing. It's just stuff that I've been noticing and how they carry themselves, how they carry the people around them, things that they've done on social media, who they interact with, and things like that. So in those instances, something that somebody told me was sometimes it's okay to just walk away. Sometimes it's okay to just, if you can't figure out how to say something or what to say, sometimes it's okay to just walk away. So I've, in certain aspects, instead of putting myself in an uncomfortable position, working with people that I don't feel carry a similar or good message, or I've seen what they've been doing and who they uphold and praise and who they look up to. And if those people have been carrying damaging messages or are kind of toxic people, and that I don't want to surround myself, like Aziza said, this is my space, which I love that you said that. When you said that, I was like, yes, that's right. This is my space. So I've been standing up by kind of being like, you know what, I'll pull myself out of this project, or I won't be able to be a part of this, or I can't do this, you know, as my way to kind of save my space and not put myself in those situations.
For sure. And last but not least, Sonia.
Yeah, I feel like kind of often I have to stand up for myself, especially in meetings. Just being not only a quiet Canadian, usually I've have to like physically speak louder, but just, you know, not feeling sometimes not feeling like I can speak up, or not feeling like I'm getting talked over often. And it really does take people to go out of their ways to create those spaces for people, especially women, to be able to speak up and talk and have and contribute to conversations. You know, long story short, when I started my podcast, what my co-host Aaron, at the very beginning, he's like, listen, I talk a lot, and I'm sorry, I just want to say this up front. I do talk a lot, and sometimes I will catch myself, you know, talking too much. So just in case I am, like, let me know, please. Like, I want to be able to have a conversation about it. And then I've noticed, even, you know, in our podcast or, you know, on meetings, like if he catches himself talking too much, or if, you know, something like that, he pauses, and then he creates the space, and he's like, okay, and he will step back. But it's people being conscious of that and having, you know, that at the forefront of their mind. But I love, Christine, what you said about negotiating, because I feel like that's huge. That's huge in knowing your worth. And I've worked with different agencies. I was signed to 2 different agencies. I've had a bunch of different managers. And at the end of the day, a lot of people didn't have my best interests. And at the end of the day, I too, again, as Christine is saying, I walked away. I walked away from a lot of management and agencies because they didn't have my best interest, and they weren't fighting for me and my worth. So now when I'm dealing with brand deals, I'm a one-woman show. I deal with everything. And knowing, you know, some brand deals that I've had, going into them knowing that my male counterparts were making significantly more than me, has given me a lot of fuel to be my value and what I know that I'm worth when I go into different brand deals. So I love that, again, Christine, just saying, you know, instead of putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, being able to walk away. And by doing that, you will make space for something that's more fitted and better. So I loved that.
That's an excellent thing to share. Always negotiate. So as we kind of close on this panel, let's just do a rapid fire of a piece of advice that you would give an up and coming streamer who's really passionate about following in your footsteps, or honestly just wanting to have a career in gaming. You can give a rapid fire answer to this. That would be great. If Christine, if you would like to go ahead and start, please.
I was like rapid fire, but who goes first? But I would say be consistent, and my audience will probably, some people in my audience will roll their eyes because I say this a lot. Be consistent. Whatever consistent means to you, whether it's daily, whether it's once a week, whether it's twice a week, whether it's once a month, whatever your consistent is, be consistent. And I would say stay true to you. Don't try to mirror exactly how somebody else does their stuff, because that might not work for you. A lot of people will come for you and want to see what you do when you play a game, or what you do on your channel or streaming platforms. So stay true to you and be consistent.
That's excellent. Thanks for that advice. Kenyatta, if you want to go ahead and give your piece of advice.
My advice would be bring you to what you're doing, because it can feel like really hard sometimes to get noticed because of, how many people are playing the same games at the same time and that sort of thing. So when I'm saying bring you, if your thing about games is, I only like puzzle games, that's perfectly fine. That's you. And there's a whole bunch of other people who also like just puzzle games. They will go to your channel knowing they can find new puzzle games. Sometimes even just reaching back into stuff will help, because like I'm going back through my Steam library, and like one of the things people always say when they stop by my streams are, every time I come here you're playing something I've never heard of before. While everybody else is playing, the latest game that came out, while they're probably fun, people probably miss certain games during their peak seasons. So if you happen to have it and you feel like playing it, then play it. If you feel like doing crafts or something else, do it. Bring you, because at the end of the day, trying to do anything else is just going to leave you exhausted.
So true. I am totally trash at Valorant. I don't know why I keep playing, but hey, here we are. Aziza, if you would like to talk a little bit about giving advice, please, advice to the next up and coming streamers.
Okay, next up and coming streamers. Basically for up and coming streamers, stay consistent, be yourself. Don't try to conform to somebody else. Don't change your personality for anything. There is an audience for you. You just have to speak out, find different ways to connect to people, because Twitch is not going to do it for you. YouTube is not going to do it for you. You need to go out and actually search for it. Okay. The newer, older streamers or stuff like that that actually have a great audience and they're going into brands, get a lawyer, get a PR firm, get a market manager, get extra people. You can't do it by yourself. Once you start reaching a certain platform and you have a whole huge audience, you need people. You're going to burn yourself out. You don't have to burn yourself out. You don't have to do anything. Get people. I have people. I have to remind my teammates that there is a lawyer. There is a PR firm. You got into trouble, talk to her. She knows what to do. You need documentation. There's a marketing manager. We have other people. Get those people on your side, because you grow faster when you have less on your load.
Excellent advice. And we'd love to hear from Sonia on some advice as well too. So go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to echo pretty much everything here. Consistency. I loved that, Christine. It's so true. People will definitely roll their eyes at me because I'm very inconsistent, but it is very true. Consistency is key. People know where you are and where to find you. I loved, Aziza, what you said about kind of like diversifying your platforms too, like having Twitch by itself, not all the time is going to be able to do it for you. So yeah, make sure that you're diversifying your social media and your platforms. Loved it. Lawyers, have somebody to review your contracts when you're sign anything that you haven't had reviewed and have thoroughly gone through. Build your team. Again, I love that. Wealth management, when you're doing deals and you're making money, the biggest key thing that I've found a lot of value in is having a financial advisor and having somebody, helping me with my investments and helping me put away for retirement and helping me everything. Like that's been key, because otherwise I don't know what I would have done. But, and again, going back to just being you, like I love, like don't blend in. Don't wash out your colors, don't dull your sparkle, whatever you want to call it. Just be bold. Don't let anybody else instill self-doubt in you, because through perseverance, you can achieve the perceived impossible, because it is just that. It's just perceived. It's just a perceived impossible. So yeah, that's all I got.
And thanks, Sonia. So we are going to be closing out this panel since we are at time. So where can we find you all? Where can the viewers find you after this panel? Social media, on stream, etc. And we'll start with Sonia.
Yeah, I'm at OMG It's Firefox everywhere. I stream Mondays on Twitch. I stream Fridays on Instagram. I also have a podcast called Good Game Nice Try on Team Coco. GoodGameNiceTry.com. That's about it.
Aziza.
Okay, I'm ZZ Down on Twitter, Naughty Nimbus on Instagram, but Dynamic Focus is the team, Dynamic with a K. The Queen of Hill series is the Coths. TheQuoths. The Coths on Twitter.
Awesome. And Christine.
Oh yes, I'm Christine everywhere. Christine Games also on YouTube. Mostly on YouTube. I have Instagram, I have Twitter. I also have the podcast, Party Chat Podcast. And we post weekly typically. We're going to be doing the Resident Evil showcase tomorrow, so check that out. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Kenyatta.
You can pretty much find me at Wolfkeeper989 across, all my platforms. I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, and I'm Wolfkeeper989 on Twitch as well. So I stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays sometimes. I'm currently off this week because my main computer is trashed right now, so I have to get it fixed. But other than that, I'm usually pretty consistent. But yeah, so you can find me at Wolfkeeper99 pretty much everywhere. And I'm gonna go ahead and warn you, my Twitter is my fangirl Twitter, so you're gonna see a lot of anime and stuff all over my page, mixed with politics and everything else, because that's just where I am most of the time.
Gotcha. And Alex, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me online at Alex Hutchie, HUTCHI. You can also check out the 5-Minute Gamer podcast. It's exactly 5 minutes. So stop by. Would love to have more guests. So yeah, that's where you can find me at online.
And you can find me, Jade Valkyrie, Jade Valkyrie on all social media platforms. Twitch is Valkyrie with a 3. And I will also be playing a Druid and Dungeons and Dragons in exactly 30 minutes. So you can find that on my Twitter. I'll be retweeting it soon. But that's all the time we have for today. So on behalf of myself, my fellow panelists, my co-moderator, and the ESA Foundation, thank you for joining us. And a recording of this will be posted on the ESA Foundation website next week. So until next time, bye.